And that's a good start to the video. Yep.
Gonna lick my finger.
Okay, number 2, production.
Yes.
Same thing. Okay, so from a production perspective, and I think this is a bit more like obvious in terms of like what we're doing to challenge the industry, because we manufacture everything in-house. So we have Heidi makes stuff, Anna, part-time seamstress, makes things, and we I would say 80% of the time get our fabrics from within the UK, and if not, we source them from Europe. We try not to go any further afield. And so in that sense, we're kind of be conscious in terms of not shipping them all the way in, making it and then shipping them all the way back out again. And then it's kind of like the supply chain in the sense of making sure that everything in-house is done fairly and produced well, and then it kind of links in with quality that I mentioned at the very beginning, the fact that by doing everything in-house you can be sure that you're not sending anything out that you're not happy with, whereas obviously as bigger and larger companies have to do, they just have to trust that what goes out is correct. And I think that's kind of when we're challenging fast fashion, because I think there's just that attitude of you can throw it away. So it doesn't like, I bought it for £7, whatever, I can wear it once and it's not great, I'll just throw it in the bin, doesn't matter. And I guess that for me, unless there's anything else, that's kind of the main part of production, in terms of how we're challenging it.
Yeah, it's more, and also about like production, like when producing the garments, the people who are making them are paid fairly, and the working conditions are nice. Yes, the studio is very colourful and busy, but it's nice and like, do you know what I mean? And then the people that we have making them, like, there's so many if we were getting them made, say in Bangladesh or somewhere, then you would be sat next to each other in a non-air conditioned factory, sweating for 10 hours a day, literally saying the same thing, head down, like, oh, it's awful, it's not, and then paid pennies. And so it's just like, and if it was the equivalent here, you would be paid less than minimum wage, like you wouldn't even be able to survive. So it's just, we're very conscious that happens, and then so we're not going to do that, basically.
And we
care.
care.
We're just not going to do that.
Yeah.
We care, we're very careful in doing the producing, so we want to be shown the right way, we want to learn the right way, like you're very hands-on with showing Anna and I exactly what to do and how you've done it, so it's just all about the caring and the guidance.
And I think, and similarly to environmental, we cannot say we're perfect, because obviously, like I said, we do have to get our fabrics from somewhere. We don't, for example, dye them in-house, so that's happening somewhere else, and their side of the production process we have no sight of. So we're as good as we can be, but we can't know it all unless we were to physically make the fabrics here.
Yeah,
we don't.
You literally took the words out of my mouth. Yeah.
So on literally the same as before, what do you think of the word production when it springs to mind? Have we kind of defined it in the way that you would imagine we would if we're saying we're challenging the way that production is within the fashion industry? Or again, any thoughts?
Can I ask because like there was a lot going on there, what's the main message that you want to deliver for production? Like,
I guess it's that we make it, good point.
Yeah.
I guess is that we make it in-house, so we know that the people who are making the clothes that we're selling are treated well and they're paid fairly, and also the quality of the production is good because we can see it right here, and that we're also producing garments that are, so from a design perspective, just is that they would last longer than a season. So we're not producing fast fashion that's going to be disposable and throwaway in 3 weeks' time. We're not looking at the latest celebrity and going, oh, that would sell, so we're going to make 10,000 of those. It's not that. We're going, this is what people love to wear. Navy, grey, black. That's why there's loads of those in our ranges, because people love to wear navy, grey and black. And there's a reason for that. So then we're trying to think of ways that that jumper would last 3 years on, or 10 years on. If someone found that jumper in a charity shop 10 years later that was produced by us, it would still, someone would still love it.
It would still be like good quality and able to be worn. Okay.
Yeah.
I think again you'd probably need to like add some wording before production to describe what you're meaning. So if there's sort of two parts to it in terms of like maybe quality, and then something talking about like the fact that it's made.
Again, it's
I hate the word bespoke, but
I think it's a lot of it, like 60% of what you're saying actually fits into your environmental pillar and not into this one.
Yeah.
Like
Ah.
I think all the things about the fact that you're not looking to source beyond Europe and the majority you get from kind of local areas, that's all environmental. That I know it impacts on production, but actually that's you're being like
You're doing that
conscious
because
of environmental reasons. But the things about like fair wages and like looking after your staff and the quality, I would say they're almost two separate things again.
Yeah.
Like it's almost
I can imagine when we get to the next one, which is morals, you might then throw.
oh, I mean,
Throw
you
it
invite the
into
HR
morals.
business partner, what do you expect?
This is why we sound confused, because we think this.
They
Yes,
all-
these are the 4 things. And then it's like, well, no, that's kind of that. And
Yeah.
that's kind of that. It's so
Yeah.
hard.
And they all end up overlinking and
Yeah,
interweaving, and
right.
Yeah.
they all kind of roll into the other. So it's really good to get these thoughts, because we think the same thing, but we want to know if you guys have any other buzzwords that come with production, or what you would think we are as being a producing company that makes clothes in-house in London, trying to do good by everyone.
Yeah. I mean, it's really dull and you could probably think of something far more exciting, but really what you're saying in that point from what you're saying is like high quality of product. So that would fall under like a quality pillar, and then all the narrative about where you're like the materials that you use, the quality control, the training of your staff, that all falls within it. And then what was your other one? The one about how you treat your staff is, and like paying a fair wage is almost like, I don't know, that probably is, we haven't talked about it, but that's probably going to be in your morals, which is
Yeah.
where I would
Yeah.
steer it. But
Yeah.
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 And it is funny because we did the other day literally dabble with have we got it wrong and should it be quality? So it's just
Instead of
interesting
production.
that you guys are like just doesn't quite work, and if anything it fits into
Yeah.
something else.
I think 'cause there's so many strands of production
Mm.
that your production line will test environmental quality and morals.
Because production, I think of like Fordism, I think of factories, and I think like that's obviously what you're trying to do. It's sort of like the anti, and that's like the opposite of what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
Because production, I just automatically think of mass
Big.
production.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Totally.
Like production
Mm,
is like not
yeah.
minimalism or just
Locally sourced or something like that. So
Yeah.
to highlight the locality of it. I mean, you know, you could go down like the UK made route, but I don't know, that's like, yeah, got its own connotations. But locally sourced, or like, yeah, you know, or the whole like handmade or like hand produced or something
yeah.
like
Then
that.
again, it just might need, yeah, like Sam said, it just needs to be added.
It's being
on to
more
a few other
specific, isn't it,
words.
Yeah.
to what you want to get across.
Yeah.
And I think from your social media, that part of it is really clear to everybody that it's made on the premises.
Ah, okay.
It's not a sweatshop, etc. And you can tell you all would be working here if it wasn't fair, and you all wouldn't be so happy. I don't think, you know what I mean. I think that comes across, the fairness of the business and the equality.
Mm.
So, but it's getting it succinct enough if you wanted to explain it to someone who knew nothing about the brand and didn't follow you on social media.
So, okay, put this, say in 5 years' time, we grow, and say we do look at, and say, I don't know, the trading standards in Bangladesh or China have changed, and say we don't want to, so, and then we want to go over there because it's different, and because we know that getting something made in Bangladesh, say we set up our own factory, or we go to a sustainable factory over there, then we don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot by saying we're only British
Yeah.
made.
Yeah.
Because we're not then, because
Mm.
this hopefully will last. We want the brand to last a test of time, so it's not just for now, it's for 5 years' time.
And
So
then
that's why it's so
if you
that's
went sustainable as well, making actually something last.
But if you went to Bangladesh,
Yeah.
would you make sure that those people were paid fairly and have good working conditions?
Yeah. So then
So
does that fall under production?
morals.
Moral. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is interesting, like your point, Franny, about how we come across on social media, because I think we've got to the point where we're like, we've sent so many messages out, we have absolutely no idea how it even appears to people that know us and just literally look at it on social media. So to
Yeah.
know that that actually does come
It
through.
does translate. I'd say you know less about the sort of eco side and environmental friendly side of what you do, or trying to trying to achieve. But the production side, I think, is a lot clearer.
Ah, okay. Okay. Yay.
Interesting.
Got stuff for us.
Every opportunity. Okay.
Cool.
So then potentially production falls elsewhere, and then should we literally go on to morals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was actually my next one. So we had morals to begin with, and then we kind of tweaked it.
If you
Sorry.
just stop-
And
just
then we
stop
got rid of the
morals.
morals.
Morals are expensive.
Yeah. That was a long pause. That was great.
Well, I really felt that up, and then we
Yeah.
changed it to industry morals. Real flat. Purely because we're not challenging like or maybe we should challenge our personal morals, but this is industry morals, and basically the fashion industry has a bad reputation, whether that's high street all the way through to luxury. I think it stereotypically isn't looked at in the best way, and for us that fell in with the treatment of others, whether that's the people that work for you, as you were saying, that's us as a team, the people that we partner with, and it sounds ridiculous, and I think we said it on numerous times, like we want to work with nice people, and we actually want to get across that fine, we're not just a fun rainbow brand, but the fashion industry can be a really great place to work, and it can be really exciting and it can be fun, but that's obviously not just what we want to stand for. And I guess what we have been saying, but again we're not sure that it's right, is because I don't think it's just the right phrase, is that we care, as in we genuinely care from start to finish what we're doing, and that goes all the way through from the caring about the quality and the production through to all the way about caring how the customers feel and anything and the products that they receive, etc. And I think that's where we've come in and said we want to challenge industry morals because it's something that big brands all the way from high street to luxury, they can't necessarily do. They can't, purely based on their size. And even if we did get bigger, we like to think that that is a pillar that we could still constantly challenge and make sure that we stand by what we're sitting in here today and saying that we will challenge the morals of the fashion industry.
It's funny you say care, because I was thinking that when you were talking, I was thinking like, yeah, caring is sort of like seems like a really honest angle for that, because I guess like because morals, like, you know, kind of anyone can have morals, and then even if that you're not really just explaining what kind of morals you have, you're just sort of saying
We're morals.
Yeah. So if you just come straight out and say we care, or
We care is more personal. Has a personal
Yeah.
touch to it.
Interesting. So I think we kind of went off it because we were like, do we just literally, I think it's because it's us about, so we're like, oh, we care, we're nice people, and we were like, does it just come across a bit like, well, like not very
grandma.
honest? It
Grandma
looks-
cares.
How can you say like you genuinely care? Like, is it
Yeah.
integrity? Like,
you
no.
can say we care, but then you just have to back that up with like
It's
No,
how
that was
you
mine.
treat
Don't
people.
worry,
detail.
sorry.
You just
Someone's
need
at the
to
non-existent
back that up
door.
with some details of like how you care and in terms of like challenging.
And I think it's care by how you treat things and how you treat people, because care is shown with your interactions, and that's how you show care.
Which you could pull from production
Yeah.
pillar.
But then it's also in the way that we include all kinds of sizes. We open that chat for people to message us or contact us about if this isn't the right size or fit. They always ask, and we always accommodate. Like, we're very inclusive in the way that we care. We don't want people to not think that they can't get an
Yeah.
aesthetic laundry piece because they might not suit it or fit it. Like, it's very much so inclusive because we do care, and we want people to know that as well.
So you're fair as well.
They're caring for you, us, and the
care.
environment. This is a lovely place to be.
No, but
one
this is
problem, though.
this is exactly it.
But that's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. Basically, through all your pillars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's too much.
yeah, but then you just say like we're caring about this, that, and people, and then other, which is bad comments.
It sounds a bit cringe,
There you go.
but
Which
So
we're
maybe
just
just
not.
but it's really important.
But maybe we just need a synonym of like
Yeah.
care. Maybe
Let's
it's
get a
just
thesaurus.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I wouldn't be too worried about because what you're, I know you're calling them pillars, but where I'm thinking about where I've worked previously and what they would define, they're almost like your company values.
Yeah.
And so like I worked at some, and I won't name them because I don't know if I should, but I worked at some where theirs were literally the company values were work hard, play hard and be kind. And within them they defined what they were and how they applied across everything from manufacturing to how they treated the staff to
Yeah.
what they expected of the staff. And others are like make magic happen, own it, and own it is like empower it, have autonomy in your role. So you don't feel like, I don't think you should feel like the word really matters, because you have to define it anyway. But also you can be like, you're a fun brand and you are a bit different. So I think something like morals just sounds so serious and
Yeah.
like you said, like
It's too-
grandma's morals.
It's too corporation. It's too like
Oh,
it's too
corporate.
it's too big business, which you aren't. Like
Yeah.
it's too what you're against to have 4 pillars to define you.
You want your company
I know
values,
you need
and
this,
then just a
yeah.
couple of phrases almost, and then that encompasses all the things that we've talked about underneath it, rather than trying to fit it into 4 separate categories.
Yeah, they're interwoven
Think about it like
ideas of this,
3
this,
circles.
this, and this.
And then the overlapping bit in the middle is
The
nice
brain.
It's nice brain
rather
center.
than
Yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
because all of the ones that you're talking through overlap one another, and then aesthetic laundry literally sits in the middle of them.
I love that.
It's not
See,
like
we
that.
thought this as well. They're all so similar that they end up hanging out at some point. But then at the same time, we didn't know if that was just us thinking that. So this third-party view is incredible.
And you can have aesthetic laundry as the middle of it.
Yeah.
All the bits around it.
I mean,
And it's very true. Sorry, Sam, because we were just it was literally that we keep trying to fit into, I don't know why we've got 4,
Singular
but we keep
pieces.
talking about
Yeah.
it. And actually
But
make it
everything-
overlapping is
Yeah.
such a terrible thing, but sorry, Sam. what
no,
were
I
you
was just gonna say you could always have, or you can almost have like, just sort of keywords as well that are like
saying? Yeah.
around that. So you just think of the things that, the 5 keywords that you want people to associate with your business, and then that could be it would work for hashtags as well.
Very true, because we're struggling on that front. Some days, some days we will put like certain ones for that, the thing that we're saying about, but then we've got another thing to say, so then we're like, oh, that hashtag, and then Instagram doesn't know what to do with that. We had feedback from them saying they don't know where to put our
Stop the hashtag.
So it's so hard, which we were like, the message is clear. Now hopefully we will.
We are so small though, so we like to steer away from being very businessy and big-headed and larger than life, because it's just the 3 of us or the 4 of us every now and then when Anna's in, and it's just confusing. So people do think that we're, wow, they're smashing it, they're doing this, they're doing that, but we're actually just 3 gals in the studio trying to set good things going on. Like we're just trying to get to the next step of being good in all senses of the word. Just being good and trying to be conscious and be aware of all these things. So it's quite scary when people are like, oh, that business, this company, this thing, but we're not as well, because it's just we're a startup brand. So it's very
I think hard work.
Yeah, and I think actually, like Franny, Laura, you make a very good point of, I think part of it is the words that we've chosen. We probably do sound bigger than we are, especially using something as businessy and sensible as morals.
No,
Who changed it to industry morals? Can't think.
Can you be in the industry if there's 3 or 4 of you?
But also, Franny, you doing literally what you said, which was like encompassing what we're basically going through now and how that sounds, and that's exactly basically what we don't want to sound like. And I think if you take the 2, it's probably because we're taking very big words that are thrown around all the time and being like, and we fall, these are our pillars, and we just make up, like that's our 4 things that we do.
But I think it's different because, but to contrast that entirely as what Heidi was saying, is that there's these big corporate organisations which go out there and they're like, we're green, we're doing this, and then you drill into it and there's nothing really behind it. There's a few things which they're like latching onto to make them feel like they can fulfill these big bold statements. But the difference is that you're the complete opposite of that. And actually, although I know you keep saying there's so much that we could do to improve, you're doing masses to like challenge the industry already, and so you are very different, and therefore I get why you're like, oh, it is hard to go out there and be like, we're green and we care about everybody and like we're a really nice brand, but actually I think you should just be really bold with it, and so long as you can back it up, who's to turn around and then challenge it? If you're actually saying we are this because we do X, Y and Z, then it's not wishy-washy because you're actually saying, you're just saying statements. like
They're actually true.
they're actually
it's your
true.
selling point, isn't it?
And then if someone comes to you and goes, well, why don't you do that? We're like, we can't do everything.
Exactly.
We literally can't do everything, otherwise we wouldn't be.
But if you're being totally honest and you back up these statements, then it's not going to be wishy-washy. But you'd probably want to keep it brief, because if you put big long paragraphs, no one's going to read it.
Yeah.
A word that we've not mentioned at all, I don't think, is the word independent, which is such a still I don't know 5-6 years on, such a buzzword. You know, I shop in an independent store. Like, that's such a thing, isn't it?
Independent grocery
Yeah.
store, independent fruit shop. It is, and it feels powerful doing so.
So maybe that's another
Yeah.
word that you need to sort of slide in there.
But then does that come into elitism at all?
I don't know. Is
Dunno.
that a swift move
Kind
onto
of
the
Is that a little slide into
kind of contrast too, but it
Like
works
caramel,
well,
isn't
doesn't it? Yeah.
Very quickly then, just before we move to elitism, slightly done over there. Any other? So basically, industry morals far too corporate for us. Anyone want to throw anything on the table? And it's fine if there isn't anything that springs to mind.
What, to replace the word morals?
Yeah.
Just
I s-
caring or like passion or
Goodness, serious.
Or are there any other brands that are very moral that you stand out? Brands that come to mind when you think, oh wow, yeah, morals. Those guys are doing it right. Those gals are doing it right. What are they? No? Yay?
I don't think it's a word that I immediately associate with fashion,
Yeah.
because there's too many other
Absolutely not.
things that come first.
Yeah.
So I still think your idea of sort of the Venn diagram kind of thing. It's not the
Yeah.
Carroll diagram, is it?
I actually don't even know what it is. I can't even remember.
The one with the three
Yeah,
overlap.
yeah. I don't know what
It's
the
an
differential
different
is.
Zen.
Ben.
Ben.
I really
VENN.
Yes.
Not much I do know, but when I know it.
Getting all your keywords and all the keywords that we've come up with tonight and fitting those into the areas of how they
Yeah.
come together. But,
and then we'll come back
but
and
they're
kick
all
some out.
overlapping.
Yeah. Give me that. So guys, what do you think of this name?
yeah, like brainstorm the words that you would want people to associate with the Civic Laundry, and then that'll
And then write them
That'll
into
bring it
a nice little paragraph.
Do you want to come back to help us do that?
Right, final one.
Ew.
We're going to pause. We're going to have a quick drink break.